What up, y'all? It's your boy Pink. I want to do like a watch along kind of series where I watch a lot of music based anime or even just anime in general. Eventually I want to do some comparisons because I do have some thoughts on certain series. I do have a couple ideas in mind for the future, but for now I'm going to be giving my thoughts on Bocchi the Rock. I'm going to be talking about the first 4 episodes in this video, but without further ado, let's start with episode 1. This show starts off with Hitori Goto, who has always been shy since she was a kid, as well as in middle school, watching TV with her dad one day, and he puts on a show with a band getting an interview. She relates a lot to one of the members in the show. Introverts can shine when they're in a band, which inspires Bocchi to start learning the guitar because she wants to shine. We cut to 3 years later where she learns how to shred on the guitar and has her own YouTube channel, eventually surpasses 30k subs, which in 3 years is crazy. I found it funny that Hitori is using Pro Tools, or a program that looks like it, and she writes music in her closet on her laptop. She wants people to talk to her like really badly. Even though she learned how to play guitar in middle school, she hasn't played for anyone, hasn't made any friends, and now she's in her first year at high school. So she tries to change up her image by being a rocker girl, putting on her band merch and a bunch of bracelets and things, but no one ends up talking to her. She has a mental breakdown and runs away in a panic, and we see a girl with red hair that notices her and her guitar. Hitori is then sulking alone at a park where she encounters Nichika Ijichi, a second year at Shimokitazawa High, while Hitori is a first year at Shuga High. Scouted immediately to do a show the day of, where Nichika drags Hitori to a venue, a club basement place called Starry. At Starry, she meets Ryo Yamada, who's the bassist of Nichika's band. Hitori is used to playing alone, so she's not good at playing with others, so when they practice, they say that she sucks. This leads to Hitori on the floor saying that she's gonna give up the guitar, and we get the end credits at the end. The show is over. We are brought back to Nichika trying to motivate Hitori again. Nichika asks if Hitori has any experience playing guitar before, and she's like, well, yeah, I kind of make videos online. And they're like, oh, you sound like Guitar Hero, which is the name of her channel, I forgot to mention. And they don't realize that Hitori is actually Guitar Hero, and they love the YouTube version of her. But Hitori wants to play, but she's too scared. So to deal with her anxiety, Ryo suggests that she plays in a box meant for ripe mangoes. And they come up with a nickname, comes from the Japanese word Hitori Bocchi, which means to be all alone. So they shorten it to Bocchi, and Bocchi now loves it because it's her first ever nickname. Bocchi asks for the band's name, which is Kesoku Band, which is apparently a pun in Japanese meaning zip tie. We then cut to their performance that night, and Bocchi manages to play, but within that mango box. After the show, they all realize that they weren't that good. Bocchi becomes determined that she'll be brave enough to say hi to everyone in her classroom the next time that they meet. Nichika wants to have a party for Bocchi for joining, but Bocchi's social battery is already run dry, and so is Ryo's because she literally falls asleep while standing up. Bocchi runs out, but we cut to her outside saying that she wants to get over her social anxiety for her sake, the girls, and also the band. And then she bumps into someone, immediately profusely apologizes. And that's the end of episode 1. Really cute way to introduce everyone. So we go on to episode 2. Bocchi is trying to start an ice bath for her. We cut to a few days ago where Bocchi doesn't want to go in alone to the venue, and she waits about 15 minutes to go in, but the rest of her bandmates get there and they see her outside. They were supposed to have a meeting for their band but have nothing to talk about, so they play a game. Bocchi lives 2 hours away from her school because she wanted to go to a school where no one knew of her past. During this conversation, Bocchi thinks that she can relate to Ryo, but Ryo actually likes being alone. They talk about music. Ichigo likes Japanese punk like metalcore. Ryo likes techno KO, whatever that is, but has been looking at the Saudi Arabian charts, while Bocchi listens to music that doesn't trigger her Seishun complex, which is a youth complex, meaning songs or things that have complex emotion experiences and feelings associated with youth and adolescence. Usually includes feeling of uncertainty, awkwardness, and the search for identity. So Bocchi doesn't like listening to anything that she can't relate to, essentially. The group mentions that they need a vocalist, which is probably the redhead girl that we saw in the last episode. They all agree that Ryo will write the music, Bocchi will write the lyrics, and Nichika's just gonna be useless. The band needs to have a ticket quota, which is like, I'm not gonna name the venue, but I remember I knew someone that performed them in New York, where you basically have to get people to buy your tickets so that people can come see you specifically. If you don't sell enough tickets, you have to pay the difference. If you sell more than the quota, then whatever profits is split between you and the venue. I personally don't like that style of getting people to your shows, but I get why people do it. It just rubbed me the wrong way when I saw people doing that. But aside from that, they need to make money money, so they need to start working. Bocchi has an immediate breakdown because she doesn't want to work because of her social anxiety, so she tries to give them a piggy bank that has money that was supposed to be meant for her wedding in the future. And the reason why she doesn't want to work is because she thinks she'll get filmed for being so anxious and cringe that she's going to go viral and get the death penalty. Nijika then suggests that they should all just work at the venue. The group then decides that Nijika will handle the money since Ryo is a rich girl who spends irresponsibly. I only relate to half of that statement. We then cut back to the beginning of the episode where Bocchi is preparing an ice bath because she's trying to get herself sick. Because as she says herself, I'll work hard at everything except for the job. But she goes back to the venue and meets the venue manager, who recognizes her as Mango Kamen because she played in the Mango box. This manager is also Nijika's older sister. Nijika tries to teach Bocchi, but Bocchi gets very overwhelmed and tries to make a song to help herself learn where things go and how to do things. I relate to that too hard because whenever we had a summer project, I always chose the make a song option. Thank God I never uploaded the songs. I even made a whole song summary of the boy in the striped pajamas. I remember sampling Noelle's theme from Final Fantasy 13-2. I just remember liking the beat that I made back then. Anyway, Nijika's sister might recognize Bocchi's YouTube channel by the way that she plays. The girls bond while they're working while a band called Alexandism has a concert going on, where we see that Bocchi wants to make an effort to grow, so she tries to serve a girl, albeit nervously, and when she gets home, she gets sick. Ryo and Nijika talk about Bocchi doing a good job and how they still need a vocalist, and then the episode ends with a red-haired girl at a karaoke place. Next episode. Episode 3 starts off on a Monday where Bocchi just got over her cold. Her little sister asks if Bocchi is happy that her cold let her skip school for a few days, but Bocchi says that any day that she misses puts her at risk of being forgotten by her classmates. Bocchi realizes that she joined the band and works part-time, and maybe she stepped up for being completely introverted. She takes her guitar to school in hopes that others will talk to her, to which no one does. She overhears some girls talking about some bands. The band that was mentioned was called Backwimps. I think people may know what band that is if you've seen Your Name. Bocchi tries to involve herself in this conversation by yelling, but forgets why she even exclaimed. It's too bad because the girl seemed excited since Bocchi doesn't speak up much. We cut to Bocchi eating lunch and she's alone in the dark, what could be by the basement stairs, and reflects on just what happened. Bocchi believes that the girls will think that she's a creep, so she's gonna stay as she is, but then fantasizes about being a famous guitarist on TV, talking about how depressing she was back then and how people will be in awe of her somehow. She hears a group of girls coming by the stairs and hides on top of the desk. They mention someone named Kita being a really good singer and played guitar in a band before she quit. Aha, the red-haired girl is Kita. Bocchi is watching the girls talk amongst themselves and thinks that Kita is really pretty, but has a mental breakdown again. Bocchi stalks this girl to her classroom but just stands at the door, eyes locked in on Kita. Kita recognizes her and calls out to her by her full name and asks if Bocchi's looking for someone. Bocchi tries to speak up but makes sounds that's supposed to be beatboxing, so Kita beatboxes bad. Boom boom cats to boom boom cats type beat, literally. Bocchi runs away and hides again, saying that she's added 2 more additions to her dark past. So she takes out her guitar and writes a new song. Kita apparently hears it and thinks that it's really good. Bocchi thinks that Kita's just being nice and is overpowered by her very nice extroverted aura. Bocchi tries to invite Kita into the band but gets denied, so Bocchi basically just lies, saying that Nijika and Ryo are like party animals and that they do a bunch of shit that they don't actually do. But Kita says that she can't join the band because she actually can't play the guitar that well, because she lied when she joined her previous band because she wanted to get closer to her upperclassmen. It was too much for Kita, so she quit, and it turns out that she doesn't really know jack shit about the guitar. Since Bocchi taught herself, Kita wants to learn from her so that she can get good, apologize to her previous band and join them, but Bocchi gets overwhelmed by Kita's aura again, but ends up agreeing to teach her. And because Bocchi lied and described Ryo and Nijika as party people, she texts her group chat to come to work blasting EDM music while dancing and holding energy drinks. Kita and Bocchi make their way to the venue, but Kita gets uneasy as they get closer because her last band was in the same area. I wonder what band that could have been. Bocchi Bocchi becomes a bit difficult, but then ends up telling Kita that they're going to Starry and mentions the girls by name. Kita realizes who they are and says that she can't go. As she's trying to explain her way out, Nijika shows up with energy drinks in hand and immediately clocks that Kita is the runaway guitarist. Ryo comes along, Kita bows and begs for forgiveness. She comes clean to them and Nijika says that they were worried, while Ryo thought that she was straight up dead since they didn't hear from her. Kita feels bad and wants to make it up to the girls, so Nijika's older sister suggests, why don't you work at the club? We need help tonight. And for some reason, they give Kita a maid outfit. Kita is getting compliments left and right, while Bocchi feels bad since she's doing the same shit that Bocchi did, but does it way better than her. So Bocchi literally throws herself in the trash and writes another song. She floats away like she's dead, and we get some pretty art by Aki Hamazi, who's the mangaka, as if the show actually ended. I don't know why they did this joke a second time, but Nijika asks Bocchi to teach Kita about the drinks, so redemption time. But Bocchi loses herself while being watched by Kita with beaming eyes. Kita patches Bocchi up after spilling what could have been coffee on herself and asks Bocchi why she joined a band, while Bocchi notices something about her fingertips. Bocchi says that she wanted to join a band because it's an indoor activity where you can be cool and flashy, and that she wants to be popular. But she realizes that these aren't good and pure reasons, so she's like, world peace. But we cut to the concert at the venue that night. We find out that yes, Ryo was the upperclassman that Kita adored, to say the least. And the reason why Kita wanted to get close to Ryo this entire time is because she saw her playing on the street one day and immediately fell in love. Ryo at the time had quit her last band and started Kesuko band. Once Kita found out that they were recruiting members, she immediately tried joining. We hear the girl saying that a band is like a second family, but Kita wants to be Ryo's girl, but feels like she doesn't deserve to be in the band, hence why she can't join. Their shift ends and Kita says goodbye to Bocchi, but Bocchi chases after her while getting herself hurt in the process. Kita reiterates what she said about not joining the band, but Bocchi notices that Kita has calluses on her fingertips, meaning that she put a lot of time and dedication to learning the guitar. Nijika and Ryo say that it's okay for her to join them, but Ryo is saying that just because she'll have to pay less for whatever fees they have to pay for in the future. But Kita's just fine with that. And even if Kita can't play, they have Bocchi who can help teach her. Kita says that she'll work hard, and Bocchi is glad that she stopped Kita from leaving. Kita says that she practiced a lot but doesn't really know how to play, and she felt weird because her guitar kept making like a doom doom sound, as she describes. I thought she may have just been muting the strings by accident, because me, as I was trying to learn guitar, did the same. But it turns out Kita was actually playing a 6-string bass. We cut to Bocchi trying to teach Kita, and Kita gets mad and wants to quit. We find out that Ryo bought the bass from Kita and let her borrow a guitar to practice, but now Ryo is saying that she's only going to eat nothing but weeds for a bit, and for whatever reason Kita immediately tries to learn the F chord. For those that have never tried to play guitar before, this is what determines whether you're going to continue playing guitar or not. For me, I suck at trying to bar chords. I figured out a way to play the F chord but without barring it, so I'm a cheater. Anyway, the episode ends with them practicing and Ryo comes in literally eating weeds. Episode 4. Ryo passes by a bunch of posters of some bands while Bocchi and Kita practice. Kita says that she can't sing while playing guitar, so she'd rather just be a singer, but she feels like she would be awkward during the interludes by just standing there, so Kita suggests that Bocchi sings with her. Immediately Bocchi spirals into saying no. The others come in so that they can all go to Starry and have a meeting where they discuss how they can become more band-like so that they can get all the superficial shit out of the way. Nijika somehow made merch already, which is just a zip tie bracelet, and I immediately thought of that I have your whole rent on my wrist meme. At least I hope it's a meme. I really hope people didn't spend like $700 on a fucking zip tie bracelet. Ryo says that they can sell them for 500 yen or 650 if signed. So for the Americans in the audience, like me, 500 yen translates to $3.09. Meanwhile, 650 yen is about $4.02. Back to the episode. Kita is now responsible for the band's social media. Nijika suggests a fan club, but Ryo says that they should have a 10k annual membership fee, which 10,000 yen converts to about $61.84. Perks would include meet and greets and a once-a-year takoyaki party where the fans are the ones that bring the ingredients. Bocchi feels the burden of expectation from Kita when asked for ideas because Bocchi doesn't have any, literally racking her brain until Nijika interjects saying that Bocchi has a more important job, focusing on writing the lyrics for their new song. Cut to a week later where Bocchi can't write shit. And as an artist, I relate to this hard because some of my my songs took months to even years to write, because sometimes you don't just get that creative inspiration. But at least Bocchi perfected her signature. She spent about 5 hours a day before editing videos so that she could escape her own reality. That's real as fuck. She finds her lyric book from middle school, but her lyrics from back then seem more like a curse rather than a song. Bocchi then tries to put herself in the mindset of an extrovert to write lyrics for Kita to sing. She's literally acting everything out in person, and her whole family is watching through the crack in the glass. That's not supposed to be there. Through the crack in the door. And her mom assumes that Bocchi needs an exorcism. Bocchi then locks herself in the closet to try to write an inspirational song, but she struggles with it. Nichika then calls everyone so they can meet up and get some promo photos done. And they're doing it outside because they can't afford a studio. That's real as shit. The reason why they need to get promo photos done is because these are meant to convey the band's direction and the uniqueness of each member. They go scouting for places until they find a CD shop that had recently closed down, and Bocchi ends up finding a good wall to take pictures by. They're not 100% sure about the pictures they took, but they mention that Kita looks great in all of them because she looks like she knows what she's doing, and it makes sense because apparently she posts regularly on the in-world equivalent of Instagram. Bocchi then has a fucking seizure because she's not used to spending time or taking pictures with friends since she didn't really have any growing up. She's only taking class pictures, and she even compares herself to the yokai, the Tsuchinoko. Nichika then suggests that Bocchi make an Instagram so that they can have their own member pages. So then she has an even worse seizure. This is because Bocchi internally thinks that she'll become an attention whore monster if she makes an account. Then the girls politely back off and they try to get a jumping picture. While they're doing this, Nichika gets excited for their to be determined summer concert, their to be determined demo CD sale, and their to be determined first album release that's in the winter. Bocchi then realizes she still hasn't written any lyrics. Bocchi has a new lyric book, but she puts herself down because she doesn't know how the girls will react to her lyrics. She reaches out to Ryo in a very formal manner through text, and Ryo sends her the address to a cafe, Le Chic. And I feel bad for Bocchi because she enters. I know she's trying to be brave, but she's so cringe but relatable. She enters with a "Are you winning, diners?" Bocchi feels really awkward since she has never been alone with Ryo before and she barely knows her. She fidgets for a bit while Ryo just bluntly asks for the lyrics. Ryo sees Bocchi's signature and says that it's a bit childish, but then opens up about the other band that she was in because she immediately clocked that she doesn't like Bocchi's current lyrics, asking her if she's satisfied with what she wrote. With the previous band that Ryo was in, their lyrics were awkward, but they were honest. Because they were desperate for sales and growth, they forced themselves to be more marketable and commercial, and so Ryo left because she hated it. And just about when Ryo was about to give up being in a band in general, Ichika approaches Ryo to join her in her band because she loves how Ryo plays the bass. And I wrote a quote that Ryo said that struck a chord with me. Get it because it's about music. Abandoning your uniqueness is equivalent to dying, which reminds me of a quote that I have as my screensaver on my phone. A screenshot from Shizzy 6 seconds, or how he goes by online known as Irado Amor. Letting your dreams stay dreams is death, don't die. Which then also reminds me of one of my favorite Breakin's quotes from his album Hypochondriac, an endeavor to die or create. I don't have tattoos, but I would get all of these quotes tatted on my body somewhere. But anyway, Ryo doesn't want Bocchi writing generic lyrics. She wants Bocchi to write what she wants and be satisfied with that. Ryo wants the uniqueness of each member to come out, and that's what's going to be the quote color of what Kesugo band will have. After this somewhat deep conversation, they are leaving the cafe, but Bocchi mentions that they haven't paid. Apparently Ryo is still broke, but she was tired of eating weeds and really wanted to eat at the new cafe. Bocchi ends up paying for Ryo, and Ryo says that she'll pay her back next month. Oh, I love when people say that. Cut to them at Starry now that Bocchi finished writing her lyrics, to the point where she stayed up and forgot to sleep. The lyrics are a bit of a downer, and Ryo mentions that not many people are going to relate to these lyrics, but for the people that will, it'll hit hard. Bocchi is proud of herself for a bit and hopes that the band will stay together forever, and then cuts to her printing out that jumping picture multiple times and literally taped it all around the room, and this is where we get her crazy schizo laugh and the episode just ends. I love that episode 4 has a bunch of the memes that I've seen a lot. I sadly relate to a lot of how Bocchi acts. Even if I am making videos, putting myself out there as an artist and photographer, as much as I do like going out, I just prefer being at home, working on stuff, recording videos, and just having fun with things. But I do like going out. It's fun. I just love spending time with the people that I care about and then making memories with them. And that's also one of the reasons why I like making these vlogs. It's a keepsake. But yeah, I'm really enjoying this series so far. If you want to watch with me, I'm going to try to make videos like this every other week aside from the main vlog. But let me know what you thought of the first 4 episodes of Bocchi the Rock. I do hear that season 2 is coming out soon, so that's another reason why I wanted to do this show first, aside from it being what was voted most on polls that I made on both of my Instagram pages. So I appreciate anyone that voted. I hope you enjoyed the review so far. We're going to be tackling the next 4 episodes in the next video, and with that, I have been Pink, and I will see y'all whenever.